Hello everyone and welcome to We Speak Chess. How to play the English opening by Anatoly Karpov. Game number 1. Garry Kasparov against Anatoly Karpov. World Championship match, second game. Seville, 1987. c4, knight to f6, knight to c3, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, g3, bishop to b4, bishop to g2, short castle, e4, knight to g5, bishop takes c3, b takes e3, rook to e8, and now f3. Anatoly Karpov replied e3. It was precisely this move suggested in his day by my long-time second Igor Zaitsev that plunged my opponent into deep thought. Previously, black had automatically taken on f3. Incidentally, I had played this in the fourth game of the match. In principle, the point of the turns e4, e3 lies in obstructing the harmonious development of white pieces, driving a wedge into his position. Though this idea is not original, I was convinced it had not been played before in the present situation. But how surprised I was one day when, upon opening the Chess in USR magazine, I saw the game Brand against Zaitsev, played nearly 10 years before the duel in Seville in an international correspondence tournament. After knight e3, white took the pawn. Kasparov replied d3, but in that game, white took the pawn and then ventured a desperate attack and quickly lost. b6, f4, bishop to b7, bishop to d5, rook to e7, e4, h6, knight takes f7, rook takes f7, bishop takes, king takes, e5, knight to e8, queen to d5, check, king to f8, bishop to a3, check, d6, rook a to d1, knight to f5, queen to d3, bishop to a6, queen to f5, check, king to g8, e takes, d6, bishop takes c4, queen to f8, check, king takes, and winning. The attack by the white pieces is not enough. More accurate was in the move 11. Instead of f4 to play e4. After h6 we can play knight to h3, and after bishop to a7 the c4 pawn is done and black can be satisfied with the results of the open. d3 by Garry Kasparov, the most accurate reply. A further advance of the d pawn is hardly better. d4 will be replied by knight to a5. d5 is not successful because after c takes d5, knight takes d5, f4, h6, queen to b3, knight c to e7, knight to f3, knight to b6, and now c4. Let's go back and let's see what happens after knight to a5, knight to f5, queen to d3 attacking the pawn, b6, c5. More reliable is bishop takes e3, and after bishop to a6, rook f to e1, knight takes c4, bishop to f2, preparing e2 to e4. Let's go back to c5. After c5, bishop to b7, bishop takes e3, queen to e7, bishop to f4, queen takes e2, queen to f5, h6, knight to e4, knight takes, rook a to e1, knight takes g3, h takes g3, and now queen to b5 and queen to g4. After queen to g4, the black pieces can reply queen to c6, and black has a serious initiative. This was a game played between Olafsson and Naukokin in 1988. So let's go back to d3. Karpov replied d5, the only reply. Otherwise, the e3 pawn will be quickly surrendered. Queen to b3, yet another essential move, because after c takes d5, knight takes d5, and there are two possible paths. Both are pleasant for black. The first one is after knight to e4, f5, c4 takes the knight, we takes the knight, and now e takes f3 and rook takes f3. Knight to d4, rook takes e3, bishop to g4, bishop to e4, queen to f6, bishop to b2, queen to b6, bishop takes, queen takes, rook to c1, bishop takes e2, king to g2, bishop takes d3, and black is completely winning. So let's go back to the move by Kasparov, queen to b3. We say that was the only move because if we play c takes b5, black has two possible replies. The first one after this was knight to e4. The other reply, if I play queen to b3, it's late, because now we can play knight to f5, queen to a3, queen takes, queen to e5, d4, and queen to d6. And the game is approximately equal. After, let's say, bishop to a3, queen to c6, f4, queen takes c3, queen to f4, knight to f6. After queen to b3, Karpov replied knight to f5, and after queen to a3, c6, c takes d5, c takes d5, and now f4, knight to c6, rook b1, and now queen to c7. After the move bishop to g4, we can play b takes b7, bishop takes e2, and now we can play knight takes f7. But the black has a good reply with queen to a5, because after queen to f5, let's say queen to d6, we can play bishop takes f1, and after knight to h6, king to h8, knight to f7, white is forced to give perpetual check. But more accurate is in the move number 16, we can simply play rook to e1, defending the pawn. The new too useful novelty h6, h7 was adopted in the game Komarov against Celtin in 1997, in which instead of playing queen to c7, the black pieces replied h6. After that, we just played knight to f3, queen to c7, bishop to b2, rook to d8, queen to c5, good move, knight to g4, knight to d4, queen to b6, knight to b3, knight to f2, rook f to c1, and knight to h3 check. It's a bad move. Maybe better is to play bishop to g4. Why is knight to h3 a bad move? Because after king to f1, g5 takes, and now c4. After d4, bishop takes c6, and now after queen takes, knight takes, for example, b takes c4, b takes c6, we can just play knight to b3, and we are doing well here. After knight to b3, for example, the black pieces can reply rook to b8, we can play bishop to a1, rook takes, bishop to g4, and c5. And here we are doing pretty well with the white pieces. Let's go back to queen to c7 by Karpov. What did Kasparov reply? Kasparov played just a simple bishop to b2, bishop to g4, and c4 by Garry Kasparov. Of course, it's a great temptation to harass the enemy king, but this will surprisingly hand the initiative to black. Also, not dangerous is knight to f3, because after queen to d7, bishop to a1, rook e7, rook f to c1, bishop to h3, and black has sufficient counterplay. However, by continuing quickly with, instead of knight to f3, if we play knight f to e1 defending the pawn, white retains good prospects, so that's better. However, c4 by Garry Kasparov, and Anatoly Karpov just took the pawn. Takes, and now bishop takes f6, g takes f6, knight to e4, and king to g7, defending the f6 pawn. Interesting is to play rook takes e4, because after rook takes e4, bishop takes e4, we can play f5. The bishop has to go back to f3, for example, and we can play knight to d4. We are doing really well. Let's say d takes c4, bishop takes, e takes, and now e2. After rook f to e1, the queen can go to c4, and black is doing pretty well. Black has compensation for the rook, but after king to g7, the white replied d takes c4. Now the advantage completely transfers to black. After knight f6 is an interesting sacrifice, because after king takes, we can play rook to b5, rook a to d8, queen to c3 check, king to e7, queen takes c4, leads to a complicated position. Some commentators suggested in the move number 20, queen to c3, when after queen to e7, defending the pawn, rook takes b7, queen takes, we can take the pawn, king to f8, knight takes g4, and white gains the upper hand. However, correct is after queen to c3, instead of queen to e7, the correct move is queen to d8, and after d takes c4, we can play queen to d4. Let's say rook takes b7, rook takes e4, queen takes, rook takes, this is completely equal. Okay, let's go back to d takes c4 played by Garry Kasparov. Karpov replied rook a to d8. More reliable than bishop takes e2 because we can just sacrifice the knight, and after that we can play queen to b2 attacking the king. Let's show it. Check, double attack to the bishop and the king, so we cannot take the e2 pawn. After rook a to d8, rook a to d8, yes, rook to b3, which was a bad move by Garry Kasparov. After, for example, knight to c3, knight to d4, knight to d5, there is still a stubborn struggle ahead. Much depends on where the queen goes, to d6 or to c4. But okay, rook to b3 played by Garry Kasparov. What did Karpov reply? Karpov replied with the best move, knight to d4, and after rook takes c3, queen takes c4. By now, many ways lead to the objective. Karpov also had the move knight to c2, double attack to the rook and the queen, and after queen to c3, knight takes, queen takes, king to f8, we can just keep playing some moves. Instead of that, Karpov just played queen takes c4, and after king to h1, knight to f5, brilliant move. After knight to f5, Kasparov replied rook to d3, bishop takes e2, rook takes, rook takes, rook to e1, and now rook to e8. The game is decided. Black has to prepare a simple matrix construction. The game continues with queen to f5, b5, knight to d2, queen to d3, knight to b3, bishop to f3, bishop takes, queen to g1, rook takes e1, after queen takes e1, knight to e3, and here Kasparov resigned. There is no way to stop the checkmate on g2. This was the first game of the book How to Play the English Opening by Anatoly Karpov. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.